Divine rising, everybody. And just bear with me just a moment while I go ahead and share this live out. If you are tuning in with me right now, let me know where you are tuning in from. So I'm not can hear me. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you have been watching the lives, whether it be live, whether it be on the replay, and you are finding value, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. And if you know a quiet queen that could definitely benefit or that resonates with these lives, share this with them and let them know that I am live. And if you are actually, if you're someone that is coming through and you are not following me, go ahead and hit the follow button and follow me. And if you are someone who would like to join me live, let me know. And or you can click the link in the comments that says live with me and you can join me live. You can join me live. Okay, let's think. Yeah, that's it. I always know. I'm gonna go ahead and kick this off here in just a moment. Okay, I am streaming on all 3 platforms. Let's see. Do I have this on? Yes, I do. All right. Let me get that back over there so I can see. All right. All right, y'all. I am definitely, it's been a divine morning because I didn't go to bed till this morning, working on our team's CRM system that I built from scratch, and it's been interesting. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get this kicked off this morning. If you are looking at the description, the title of this live is behind me as well. Trusting what you cannot see yet, cannot yet see. I'm twisting my words. The strongest leaders continue building long before the results become visible. And so let's dive into that description here. It's one of the greatest challenges in leadership is continue to move forward when visible results haven't yet caught up with your efforts. And inside of Quiet Queens Academy, we believe trust isn't passive, it's an intentional choice to continue living in alignment with your values, even when the outcome hasn't fully revealed itself. And so, on this morning, we're exploring why trust is not about certainty, it's about consistency. In today's Quiet Queens principle, trust strengthens consistency before results appear. And so, again, divine rising quiet queens. Have you ever wondered if have you ever wondered if what you're doing is actually making a difference? And maybe you've been showing up, being consistent, making thoughtful decisions, building quietly, but the visible results don't seem to match the efforts you've been investing. And if you ever felt that way, you're not alone because every meaningful journey eventually reaches a season where trust becomes more important than evidence. And so let me connect with you for just a moment. there has been seasons where I've questioned whether what I was building was growing at all. Not because I lack purpose, but and not because I lack commitment, simply because growth often happens quietly before it becomes visible. And I've learned something during those seasons and currently in this current season that I am right now. Not everything that's growing can immediately be measured. And sometimes the deepest growth is happening within us long before it appears around us. And so here is the Quiet Queen's principle for today. Trusting, trust strengthens consistency before results appear. Trust isn't waiting without action. Trust is continuing to act with intention even when the outcome remains unseen. And so, trust begins with identity. If your confidence depends entirely on external results, your consistency will sometimes, well, some your consistent your consistency will rise and fall with circumstances. And identity creates something more stable. And so, in my perspective, I've learned that when I know who I am becoming, I don't need daily proof that I am moving in the right direction. And my identity becomes the anchor. The results eventually catch up. And so, do you, or do your decisions deepen more on visible results or internal conviction? What part of your identity helps you remain steady? And this is something that, when I think about identity, this is something I've been talking about for a very, very long time. Because again, we have to get clear on our identity. We have to trust. The trust begins with our identity. It all starts with us, right? And so when identity becomes the foundation, consistent becomes much easier, not because life changes, but because your reason for continuing becomes stronger. And so consistency is an expression of trust. And every intentional action says, I believe this matters, even if no one else sees it yet. And so, in my perspective, some of the most meaningful work I've ever done wasn't immediately recognized, but recognition was never the purpose. Building with integrity was. Consistency isn't glamorous, it's simply choosing to honor what matters again and again. And it's interesting that, that's kind of, I feel like, that's kind of what I'm going through in this season right now, with showing up, the consistency, and seeing, well, the doing, and I have to be, just transparent here. When I started this process this year, I knew what was going to happen. Everything was going to seem like it was just plummeted. It's like everything was just in the red. Everything just started slow. But now here I am, and seeing it, it's not visible for everybody else to see, but I see what has been compounding over time. Starting from about 6 months ago. And I did a thing, on, let's see, what the 28th was. I think, I don't remember what day was 28, but earlier this week, I did a thing, and it started small, and I was really surprised with what happened, in that small step. Um, and so I'm starting to see what's happening. And so I just know staying consistent, even when it doesn't look like nothing's happening, I'll say keep moving. I said, because again, the simple things, the small, consistent, simple things will compound over time. And I'm seeing it with my own eyes. But again, it's trusting what you cannot see yet or cannot yet see. So you just have to trust it. So let me ask you a question though. Where are you where are you being invited to remain consistent? What quiet commitment deserves your continued attention? And so as consistency continues, something beautiful begins happening. Your trust slowly becomes confident. Not because circumstances change, but because you've seen yourself remain faithful to your values. And I can attest to that. And I'm and the thing is, like I said, I am just waiting. And in the midst of me waiting, preparing for the influx of what's getting ready to happen, the mass to happen. I mean, because like I said, when you start with those small, consistent things, over time, the it compounds and it grows and it gets bigger and it gets bigger. But in the midst of that, you want to make sure also that you're prepared or being prepared for influx of the abundance to come, right? So trust creates peace. Let's get into that point. Trust creates peace. Peace doesn't always come from having answers. Sometimes it comes from knowing you're walking with integrity. And that, my friend, that is one of the biggest, that's a big one for me. Integrity. I mean, you must operate in integrity, honesty, trust. So I've stopped expecting every season to provide immediate confirmation. So instead, I've learned to ask, am I living in alignment today? Because again, as I always say, my past, my future is in my present now, right? So we're living in today, not yesterday or tomorrow. So if the answer is yes, if I am living in alignment today, and if the answer is yes, that's enough for me to keep moving forward. And so let me leave you with this, or you can reflect on this. What would change if you trusted your journey a little more? And that's the thing, if in our businesses, because sometimes we seem to not trust our journey. And so, but what would change if you trusted your journey just a little more? I mean, journey could be in anything, but if you just trust it, what quiet evidence of growth have you overlooked? What are you overlooking? What have you overlooked? And so today, I'm going to give you the Quiet Queens integration. Today's conversation wasn't really about waiting. It was about trust. Trust grows through stewardship. Stewardship is strengthened by healthy boundaries. And remember, those boundaries are the ones that are set for you, not for other people. Boundaries require discernment, your discernment. Discernment protects your alignment. Alignment reflects identity, and identity is supported by clarity. And clarity becomes sustainable through structure. And this is how the Quiet Queens operating system continues to build itself. Each principle supports the next. And so many people believe I'll trust the process when I finally see results. And I'm telling you right now, start trusting the process right now. Because again, the small intentional actions will compound over time. So inside of Quiet Queens Academy, we ask a different question. What if trust is what allows you to remain consistent long enough to see the results? Visible growth often comes after invisible growth. You get that? Visible growth often comes after invisible growth. And so I'm telling you right now, I'm experiencing the invisible growth, but I'm also am pretty humbly excited to see the visible growth because I know that it's coming. And so the roots grow before the tree, right? And I talked about this on another live about my plants out there. Started with some seeds, but the roots starts to grow before the tree. So it's like And I think about the mustard seed. When we talk about the mustard seed of faith, that's a tiny seed. It's a very, very tiny seed. But over time, after watering that seed, you know, nurturing that seed, just simply, the little things, giving it the sun, right? It grows into a huge tree. And we know a mustard seed tree, if you hadn't seen one, they grow into huge trees. So I love that story about the mustard seed, the story of the mustard seed. Um, so the foundation is laid before the building rises, right? So you can't build a building without the foundation, because if you build it and there's no foundation, it is definitely bound to fall. So trust isn't about pretending everything is easy. And I'm telling you right now, what I have been doing has not been easy. It's because I had to integrate structure. I had to integrate the clarity. I had to integrate my identity. I had to do all those things, because really, when you're not seeing anything, when you don't see anything visibly growing, then you start asking yourself the question, am I really wasting my time, right? Am I really, wasting my time? But before I started on this journey, even up to the point of me doing these lives, I started with, I got to stay focused. I have to stay focused. And as we know, focus, uh, I guess what's in the acronym stands for the FOCUS. Um, it stands for focus on one course until successful. And so that's what I've been doing. And I just decided, no matter what's going on around me, what everybody's doing, even in my team, it doesn't matter what they're doing. It doesn't matter what they're doing, but I have to, Shakita has to stay focused on that one course until successful. And if I tell you, the invisible things are growing, as well as the visible things are growing. And so, as I was saying, trust isn't about pretending everything is easy, because it's not. It's about continuing to honor your values while the unseen work is still taking place. So, as I'm speaking today, the unseen things are taking place today. I mean, like I said, I go live every day, Monday through Friday, and nobody has really, shown up, right? I mean, nobody really has shown up. I mean, I have, like, a few people show up, but the thing is, it doesn't matter, because I know what my focus is. I mean, it doesn't matter that no one is showing up. Even the people that say they support you, they don't show up. But it's okay, because the thing is, I told myself that this is what I was going to do, no matter what. I'm going to stay consistent. I'm going to do the small things. I'm going to continue to do it every single day. And then I started using tools to help me to be able to do those things. I mean, started doing things that will, take a day out of my week to set up my scheduled posts, so that that can go automatically without me having to think about it, or having to think about the next thing. So everything that I'm doing is very intentional. So me getting up every morning, doing these lives. I mean, even, working with a team, those little things, doing it regardless of the fact of whether anybody can see the evidence of it. But what I know is that I see it slowly compounding over time. And if I have to say, you know what, I celebrate that small win. I celebrate, you know, and as I say, you know what, I like to use this term, I'll break my arm, pat myself on the back, because the thing is, I validate what I'm doing. And it doesn't require, and if you're listening, It doesn't require anyone to validate what it is that you're doing. You validate yourself. You keep moving forward. You keep going. Don't stop, no matter what it looks like. But I'm going to tell you this, you got to get clear on what it is that you want. You got to get clear on what you're going to focus on, what you're going to stay committed to. Because if you don't, then what typically happens? If the foundation is not built, then typically what happens, the building does not rise, right? So again, the foundation has to be laid, the seed has to be planted before the tree will ever grow. And all the things that have to go in place. So you'll start seeing, which is the small, consistent things that you have to do in order for in order for everything to compound over time, right? So, so here's a practical integration today. Think about one area of your life where you've been tempted to quit simply because you couldn't yet see the outcome. So think about one area of your life where you've been tempted to quit simply because you couldn't yet see the outcome, and ask yourself, if I trust the process a little more, what would I continue doing today? Then take one small step forward. Not because you have certainty, because you have alignment, okay? And so in closing, I'll leave you with this question. If the results you're hoping for are already growing beneath the surface, would you continue showing up the same way today? Sometimes the strongest evidence of growth isn't what you see. It's who you're becoming while you wait. And so, if today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear your perspective. Has there been a season where trusting the process taught you something you couldn't have learned any other way? Your story may encourage another quiet queen who is faithfully building through a quiet season. So, thank you for another morning with me. And if you have not joined the community, you can join the Quiet Queens Academy at quietqueensacademy.com/community. And if you would like to know what type of builder you are, you can take the assessment and find out what your quiet builder profile is by going to just quietqueensacademy.com. And I'll see you all tomorrow as we continue building the Quiet Queens operating system, one conversation at a time. Talk to you soon.